because of my father.
Gotcha.
Joseph Veal Sr.
Okay.
I decided to get back in the industry because it was my family's industry prior to me moving to Dallas. It was kind of hard at first because grief is no joke. We actually had a physical altercation at the table.
Hush.
Well, the two siblings were fighting, two women, and it got so bad. The fight.
Hi, welcome back to the Ep3 Mortie Morty Show, where I am one of your hosts, Treyvon Veal, a licensed funeral director here in Louisiana. Today we have a great show for you guys. I would like to introduce my very special personal friend and funeral director, Mr. Joseph Veal Jr. Thank you, Joseph. Hi, thank you for being here. So I have some questions for Joe, and he doesn't know, like everybody else, do not know what I'm gonna ask him. So they're gonna really be from the heart and from his spirit. So, Joe, how you feel today about being here?
I feel pretty good.
You had a good week.
Pretty good week. Of course, it was hectic at first, but then going down the line, once I got everything going,
right.
Once the business was good during the week, it kind of mellowed out.
Good. So Joe, tell me, did funeral directing, the funeral industry, did it choose you or did you choose it?
I would say it chose me in retrospect.
Okay, so how long have you been in the funeral industry?
I would say I've been a couple of years.
Okay, a couple of years, like 5, 6, 11?
11 years.
11 years? Okay, all right, that's good. So, do you have any other degrees that kind of coincide with funeral directing, or?
Yeah, I graduated from Southern University in accounting.
Okay.
And I moved to Dallas. Stayed there for 20 years.
Okay.
So I had a pretty good business acclimation. And when I came here with my affirmations, I think when I got back, because of my father,
Gotcha.
Joseph Veal Sr.
Okay.
I decided to get back in the industry because it was my family's industry prior to me moving to Dallas.
Gotcha.
So when I came back, he asked me, he said, "Son, do you want to move? Would you like to get into the funeral industry?" And I hesitated, but then I said, why not? Because I didn't know what it entailed. And I love people.
So just like me and most of everybody I have interviewed, the person that drew you into this industry was your father, Joseph Veal Sr.
Yes.
So your father is a licensed funeral director in Balmer.
Correct.
All right, good. So he was in the industry
since 1973.
Wow, older than I am. So that's a good minute. And I hear he was one of the best. And he's still alive today, still directing funerals, still doing his thing and inspiring people. And he is the Mr. Joseph Veal Sr. of Hammond, Louisiana. So if you know Mr. Joseph, you all know what we're talking about, the big personality. So Mr. Veal Sr. was your inspiration. Very good. So another question. Could you tell me what preparations you made to become a licensed funeral director?
Well, the first thing was I started as an office manager. That's what I got hired on to help grow the business and get it in preparation to grow. So once I did that, and then I started meeting with people because I love people, and meeting with the families. It was kind of hard at first because grief is no joke. So once I started interacting with the families, it touched my spirit. And as a prayerful person, as a God-fearing person, I said, you know what? I can do this. Because my mother passed in 2012.
Okay.
So that really catapulted me to say, you know what? I think I found a purpose.
Right, right. You can be for other people what somebody was for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So once that happened, and then praying, and then and being a prayerful person, I felt that I had a connection with the families.
Gotcha.
And it's more than just that, of course. But that had played a major part.
Right.
And just sitting down with them and then learning the industry, because it's not as easy as you think it is.
Right. Right. And I mean, just like as you see, as we interview a lot of people that's in the funeral industry, it's almost like you become a caring person, and you have not become. I guess you already have to be a compassionate person to do this.
Yes.
You already have to be. You know, it has to be something inside you to be able to do this industry. You know, with the people that we come in contact with, because not everybody passes away in a sweet, gentle sleep. You know, it's trauma, it's drama, it's a lot of things. So you have to be a person that's gonna think fast, can diffuse situations. You know, and some people are sweet and mild and gentle and prepared. So you have to be ready for all of that. So did you go to embalming school, funeral directing school, or how did you obtain your Louisiana license?
Actually, I did not. What I did was, because I already had my credits as being in accounting, I just did an internship with Wright and Calvi. So I would say I learned on the job.
Gotcha.
And I think sometimes that is your best education. And seeing and doing.
Right.
And seeing these families, and as you said, the ups, the downs, the different personalities, just knowing and seeing these families at their lowest,
right?
The trauma, on how they passed, on all different situations, and putting yourself in there, because you actually have to take yourself out.
You do. You really do.
And put them in. You know. You have to become selfless.
You do.
And I just feel like when you become selfless, and then you let God guide you.
Exactly.
Through every situation, and every arrangement, everything they're talking about, and you have to listen.
You do.
Listening is key.
It is. To get your Louisiana's license, like Joe did, is to do the 30 hours college credits that of the acceptable classes, your 9-month internship, and you actually have to be working in the industry, working at a funeral home, making the arrangements, assisting on funerals, arranging cemeteries, and everything that's detailed with the funeral. So that is how Joseph got his Louisiana Funeral Director's license, by doing the internship and taking the LLR exam. So if you'd like to be a Louisiana licensed funeral director, you can do as Joseph did as well. And that's a good way to do it. But as he both said and I said, you have to have this stuff in your heart and in your mind and in your spirit. You got to love it. You got to eat, sleep, live, love everything about, because this is not for the weak and it's not for the faint. Even though it brings some joy to you, and it's like instant gratification, would you say?
I agree.
Because just to see somebody that you are helping, you know, and they just love you because you are helping them, it's like that's what you live for. That's like, I don't know how you feel, but I don't feel like I actually work. I feel like I'm just going to a place to do something that I love every day, and it's just, okay, I have a time I have to be there, but you're doing what you love to do, and it's not hard work. It's just caring. I go to work to care. Exactly. You know, so you put that in perspective, and that's how that works. So, at this moment, we're going to take a break to hear from our sponsors. Thank you.
called Letter to the 8-Year-Old Me. The reason why I wrote this book was a friend of mine one day, we were on a vacation together, and she was asking me questions, and at the end of this conversation, there were a lot of tears, and she said, "You need to write that little girl a letter." And the letter turned into a book. I started writing, and she just told me, "Don't stop." And it ended up being an 8-chapter book, and it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes & Nobles, it's even on Target.com. It is a story of truth, it is a story of faith, it's a story of healing, and the greatest part about this book was I wrote this book for me, but I got letters from women who read my book who said I changed their lives because they started to look at their lives differently and started to heal themselves from just what they read and learning my process. I am not an expert in any way, form, or fashion. It was just how I thought my healing should go, and it ended up helping someone else. So it was really important that I wrote this book, and I don't even know why it was important at the time, but it healed my soul, and somehow it ended up working and healing some other people. So sometimes when you have that thought of something greater than yourself, go with it, because you never know what that looks like in the end. So yeah, the book is called Letter to the 8-Year-Old Me. Please check it out. I think you'll like it.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Edward J's Mortie Morty Show, where I'm your host, Treyana, but everybody calls me Trey. And I have here my guest, Joseph Fleet Jr. We're going to call him Joe. And the next topic we're going to discuss is how to pick a funeral home. I want to know what Joseph's views is on how should people pick a good funeral home. You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Listen at that. Okay, so he want me to go first. So it's like another question. So I'm asking how to pick a good funeral home. Well, first, I feel like you got to know what's important to you. The families have to know what's important to you. Is price important to you? Is the staff important to you? The facilities, the cars, the way they present the human remains, the decedents, is that important to you? So whichever one is important to you, then you pick your funeral home based on that. Now, some funeral homes, and I believe at the very core, all funeral homes are good.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think there's nobody out here that's deliberately trying to do bad work and trying to make bad decisions and make, funerals bad. So, but some just do it a little bit better than others, in my opinion, and
I agree.
You agree, right? So, some funeral homes, the price is higher, and you get great work. Some are higher, you get, not great work. Some are lower, some in the middle. And it just depends on what you're looking for, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
Right. So in order to know how to pick a good funeral home, you got to know what's important to you and your family. So with that being said, how would you tell somebody to pick a good funeral home?
Well, for me, choosing a good funeral home, I like to feel welcomed at first. Mm-hmm. As soon as I get in there, I want to feel welcome. I want you to also tell me I'm sorry and really truly mean it. Because you do get these funeral homes, like you said, like every funeral home is good, but then you want some sincerity in there.
Correct.
You want to feel like, okay, I am the grieving
party. Right.
And somebody is really feeling my pain. Exactly. And so when I get there, I want them to do that and also pray with me, because a lot of funeral homes, I understand that you're really not, some people are not into prayer, but at least offering. And so praying, even before you start arranging.
Right.
You know, and once you do that, it makes me feel comfortable.
Gotcha.
As well as the family.
Right.
So.
That's a good idea. And then it's like, you know, you got to set the tone.
Setting the tone.
You got to set the tone. When a family is coming into the building, and they may not be sad. They may not even be sad, like what you call crying. They really coming in there to take care of business.
Exactly.
But what I like to do is to get it back in perspective. You know, like you said, to say I am sorry for your loss, because that's why you're here.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of get you into this,
and really truly mean it, not just for your business.
Right.
You know, you want them to really understand. Hey, it's not all about the money.
Right. Absolutely.
It's all about, hey, I really and truly feel where you're at.
Right.
Make me feel that, hey, I'm here for you. Whatever we can do to make you feel comfortable. Correct. And put you at ease, your spirit at ease.
Exactly. And then to kind of let them know, okay, we are here for you, but we are about to plan a celebration of life for your loved one.
Exactly.
I want you to get in your headspace to tell me what that looks like so I can put it down on paper and make it become a reality.
Yes.
Right? So that is kind of, as funeral directors, that's kind of the thing that we like to do. To make sure that the people that come in for the arrangement know this is our ultimate goal. Is to have this life celebrated. Right. Now, we love you, we care about you, and we know that you are grieving, you are our focus. But our ultimate goal is to care for the deceased. Yes. So that is another thing. So let me ask you about...
May I add something?
Sure.
And it's also, when a family comes in, the most important thing is reading the room. And once you read the room, you'll know how to proceed with the arrangements and arranging the funeral for that time. Because every family is different.
Exactly.
Every person that comes in there to make arrangements are different.
Right.
You know, you're going to come in with attitudes. You're going to come in with despair. You're going to come in with grief. It's knowing how to read the room, set the tone, as you said before, put them at ease so they can make the arrangement correctly, or you guide them through it and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, this celebration of life, and not just make them feel like, okay, this is just...
you number 2 on the books, 3 on the books today, we got to get this over with. Yeah, you don't want people to feel like that.
You want them to feel like they're being helped, and once you feel like they know that they're being helped, it's instant gratification.
Exactly. So since you said that, let me ask you this. So which do you think is more important? The deceased or the family that's making the arrangements?
That's a good question. I would say the deceased. That's always the precedent.
Correct.
Because if the loved ones that are coming in to make the arrangements for the deceased, and they see that you care for the deceased, then they automatically know that, hey, they're going to care for me.
Exactly. That's good. That was going to be my answer too, because at the end of the day, that's who it's about.
That's it.
So in my arrangements, I always want to know, if I don't already know the deceased, you know, it's a small community, so we pretty much know everybody. Tell me about this person.
Yes.
You know, I want to experience this person from your point of view, so I can help God give the family into making a service based on this person's life.
Right.
You know, so that's a good answer. So we on the same page. Yes. So now, another question. How important do you think price is when it comes to funerals?
Well, price is important. And we are in a competitive industry. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm thinking that, well, I feel that price. How do I say this without? I don't want to. You pay for the service. You pay for you literally pay for what you get. I'm trying not to be. It's like a car.
Right.
And I don't want to put death in a car together.
But it's a service that you're paying for.
Right. So, to me, if you're paying for a good service, you're gonna pay more.
Right.
And whatever you pay, you're still gonna get the
basics.
The basic service, yes. But you pay for what you get. But now, when you come to a funeral home that is caring, most of the time, you're going to get great service throughout, no matter what the price is. Service is the same.
Whether you pay $20,000 or you pay $5. The service is the same.
The service is the same. But what makes it different is the funeral home, the staff, and the funeral director.
Exactly.
And whomever you're dealing with.
Correct. That's a good answer. Now, another aspect that I want to see how you feel once I mention it is preparing. A lot of people, and that's going to tie into my price, if we would prepare with prearranging, prepaying life insurance for this moment, when it comes to price, it doesn't matter if you spend a lot on the funeral or you spend a little on the funeral. If you are prepared, your choices would be, you'll feel better about your choices.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you come in there and you have the deceased have $100,000 policy, right? And there are funerals that's $5,000 all the way up in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right? I feel like if the family is prepared, if they choose to spend the least amount of money or the middle amount of money, I do feel in my heart that it'll be easier or better with making the decision. You can really kind of look at the products and the services and the items that you want on a different level, because that burden you won't have to worry about.
Correct. If you do a prearrange, yes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the way to go. You know, we always preaching prearrange, because it takes so much burden off the families. You know, and it's a way for the deceased to get what they want. You know, I prearrange my service because I don't know if my children know exactly what I want. They, you know, when I pass away, they don't know what colors. I mean, they may, because we talked about it. You know, I'm a funeral director. So they may know, but I don't want to leave them with that burden of picking it out, and you know that's hard.
And it also cuts down on the drama.
It does.
I mean, because let's be truthful. When you come to the arrangement table, there is going to be drama. So if you already are prearranged and you're actually in the prearrangement contract,
come on now,
then it's set in stone.
Exactly. Like, so all mad at the dead person.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So since you brought up drama, could you tell me, what would you consider the most dramatic experience that you've had with a family?
Oh my goodness.
Anything? Just think. We need us a good laugh right now. So give me something good, because I got a good one too.
We actually had a physical altercation at the table.
Hush.
Well, the two siblings were fighting, two women. And it got so bad, the fight went into the showroom where the caskets are.
Wow.
We had to restrain them. And the girl literally pulled her sister's wig off.
Wow. That's absurd. That is absurd and embarrassing.
Threw it in the casket.
My God.
That the person had already chosen.
Right. Just so happened.
Yeah.
She threw it in the right casket.
Oh no, on purpose. And said,
purpose.
oh, this is what she wanted, then that's what she'd get.
Oh.
After she threw
the wig. Oh my goodness.
I couldn't believe it, but that's just one of few. But I think that's the most absurd I've
Right. So let me say, what did you guys do? What y'all was doing? Just
we actually it started off okay, but then it went from 0 to 100 in less than 5 minutes. So we literally had to split them apart.
Right.
And then you tell, okay, you have to go outside for a second, take a breather, and then come back in, because it's not about you actually, it's about your loved one. And this was about their mother.
Right.
And then you have to literally tell them, now is this what your mother would have?
Right.
Sometimes you have to dial it down and say, come on now.
You do. You got to be a confident, a police officer, a therapist. You got to be all of that.
And that's one of the, and it's funny you should mention that because that's one of the requirements. Is actually, one of the requirements is having psychology. So you have to be a psychiatrist too. And it's not being a mind reader. It's knowing how to diffuse.
Correct.
Bring them down.
Correct. That's good. So yeah, that is, that's crazy, to say the least. However, so since we had that discussion, we're going to take a moment to encourage our viewers not to do that.
Please don't do that.
Please do not do that. Restrain yourself by any means necessary. We know words may get passed, feelings gonna get hurt. Everybody have their own views and feelings.
It puts everybody in a precarious position that you don't want to be in.
Right.
Because we know that when the family's coming in, it's really what you need to put in and stay focused. It's a celebration.
Right.
It's not about death, so to speak.
Right.
It's always to celebrate the person, the life of a person, not to just degrade them.
Right. Not about the drama.
Yeah.
Not about the drama, So let's please do better with that, you guys. Because as I'm talking to Joe about this episode that he had, I have a few stories that I can tell you, and so many other funeral directors, all of us, we have stories that we can tell you, and it's embarrassing.
Yes.
To have to call the police at the funeral home and say there's an altercation, with loved ones. So we're gonna take a moment to encourage you guys to not do that. If you think you gonna do it, stay at home. Okay?
I agree.
Exactly. Thank you. So how to pick a good funeral home. We talked about price. We talked about staff. So I'm trying to get a little materialistic. Cars and horse and carriages and the motorcades and the big stuff that you see some funeral homes have. Do you think that's important as well?
I think so. I think, they don't necessarily have to have it there, but it should be a choice where they can make sure they can get it for the families.
Right. Because not everybody wants it.
No.
And so if it's available to be, there.
As long as it's available. Right.
So that's a decision too. That's the deciding factor. So not all funeral homes, get into that side of funerals. More personalization, not all funeral homes do that. So now, my biggest thing, which would be a deciding factor in my family, would be how the deceased look, the embalming and the dressing and the casketing. That would be a huge deciding factor for me and my family, because I ain't gonna lie, I've been to some funerals where the remains was looking double dead. You know what I'm saying? And that's just unacceptable to me, being a embalmer. How you feel about that?
I feel this. I feel, let me say this. All families, no matter what, sometimes they really do put pressure on the funeral homes to make their loved ones look as if they used to look. Please keep in mind that if your loved one was sick or gravely ill, that they're not.
That's right.
On any terms going to look like you remember them.
Correct.
We, as funeral directors and as embalmers, we try to make them look as presentable as possible.
Correct.
So they can be seen.
That's
because nobody really wants them to close casket ceremony. They want to celebrate the loved ones. They want to see it, and they want to show off their loved ones.
Exactly.
So, having said that, it's just please be patient and please understand that we do our best.
That's right.
To make them presentable enough.
Because no funeral home is just, doing everything possible to make them look bad.
No.
But it also has something to do with the executives, the owners, and picking good staff, hiring good embalmers. if they take pride in their work or pride in their place of business, then they will hire a good embalmer to make sure that the loved ones are being presented right, and
no one wants mediocre.
Right, absolutely.
No one wants them to say, okay, we took them to. We don't want to snake ourselves as like saying, okay, we can make them look like this and that and the other. When you know that that's not the case.
Exactly.
You want to make them feel and tell them the truth. And then once you finish embalming them, a good embalmer always will explain.
Right.
Well, hey, we did such and such and such. We did this. This is how we dressed them. We put this on them because we thought this would look better.
Right.
Even when you bring the clothing in, because what you want to do is you want to make the family feel comfortable.
That's right.
And make them understand, hey,
right,
that we even went into detail to explain everything we did to make them look the very best.
Exactly, because everything is not like it is normally. Like, you can't really dress a deceased in clothing the way you would dress a regular,
human. Not human, but
a live person.
Excuse me.
So there are tricks and all kind of things that we do to try to do our best to make them look presentable to the eye, and things that you see, could be camouflaged a little bit to try to make a good presentation. And then you also have to think about sometimes, like you said, people may be sick.
Yes.
Lost a lot of weight,
darker than what they normally are.
Exactly.
And they say, and you have families that come in there and say, well, they were lighter when I saw them, but you may have not seen them in a year.
Exactly.
But I do have to brag on one person, Miss Trey, because she's really good.
Thank you.
At making them look as they used to.
Right. I try because that's what my passion is.
Yeah, and you can tell.
It shows. Absolutely.
It shows. It shows in everyone that you do.
I appreciate that. I thank you. Yes, that's a good answer. Okay. But yes, that is so important. Embalming is a big deal for some people. Price, the way we present, the cars, and some funeral homes, while we're talking about cars, some firms, their main thing to draw people in is their fleet.
Exactly.
Yeah, is their fleet.
So
people
have a good fleet and have a choice.
Yeah.
And if you don't even have the fleet, but make sure that you can get the fleet that the family wants.
Exactly. Because don't nothing says we class, we styling and profiling like a good set of cars.
That's exactly right.
When we step out them cars, we be knowing we be looking good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's everything that the family paid for.
Yes.
Yeah, they paid for this, so this is what they want, and they want to be shining, popping, and that's an aspect of the funeral industry is the cars.
If you pay for a $10,000 service, by God, give them a $10,000 service.
Exactly.
Don't give them a $5,000 for 10.
That's right. That's right. That's the whole thing. We want the families to get their money's worth. We want that casket shining. We want our shoes shining. The car shining. I mean, in the African American funeral industry, that is our thing.
Yes.
The
clothes, the shoes.
That's right.
The cars.
That's right.
And also the unit of the casket that they choose.
That's right. You
want everything to be bling bling.
You want it to be shining. We spent a lot of time shining those caskets.
Yes.
And those cars.
Yes.
And then on funeral day, let's not talk about, how we want to be dressed up too.
Yes.
It's just a representation of you getting what you paid for.
Have everything in unison.
Exactly.
And when it comes to that, I'm speaking of staff too with the funeral industry. When you go to a good funeral home or a funeral home that's in unison, they're gonna all be dressed alike.
Exactly.
They're gonna all have their own. I call it uniformity.
Right.
The same. There's somebody
same
gonna
color,
have the same color,
ties,
and they even try to match.
Right.
The casket.
That's right. Sometimes we match the casket. That's the theme.
Yeah.
Some funeral homes.
The theme.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The theme. Yeah. Some funeral homes they do. They want to match the casket. Just to say it's all really just saying we love you and we care.
Yes.
We are paying attention. We see you got your loved one in the blue.
We have the blue tie on.
Exactly. We love y'all.
We have a blue suit. Something that's going to make you feel like, hey, We just not putting someone
And that's
out there.
right. That's right. And don't nothing say African American like a good color scheme. You know, we love a good color scheme, and that's what we gonna do. We gonna do us. So, you know, you gonna like it or you gonna like it. We know y'all like it. So, you know, that's just a little, you know, a little lighthearted thing that we do, because even though we know it's death has occurred and we at a funeral, we don't all have to be sad and somber the whole time. We still live in life, you know. So,
well, just to put a little light on it, make it you don't want to have a blood red suit on with a blue casket.
exactly. No, you don't.
That just don't match.
It don't. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're absolutely not doing that.
Yeah.
So, in order to pick a good funeral home, we got pricing, staff, embalming,
Fleet, the cars,
the fleet, the building. And then another good one too is, just say a deciding factor could be, just say the deceased didn't belong to a church.
Yes.
Do you have a facility that can accommodate a funeral at your location?
Actually, we do, and that's a good thing, because we actually have a chapel
Right.
that can accommodate 2 different sizes.
Come on.
We have a chapel that can provide a larger service, and then we have a chapel that provides a smaller service.
Exactly.
You know, more for memorials.
Right.
And then you have you know, so forth and so on. But I also want to add too, y'all. This may be ghetto, but make sure your facility smells good.
Right.
Because that's all a part of it as well.
Yeah.
Your facility can look like $1 million, but if you walk into a funky facility, it turns everybody away.
That's a total, complete deciding factor for some people.
Yes.
Your facilities have to be nice, clean, can accommodate.
Refreshing.
You know, yeah, refreshing. You know, come on now, be cleanly. That's close to godliness. Cleanliness.
That's the Bible.
Exactly. That's biblical.
Cleanliness next to godliness.
That's right. We talking Bible now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get it right. So yeah, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because not everybody belongs to a church. We're living in a day and age
A
where
deal or a deal breaker.
Yeah, it could be a deal breaker, totally.
Because they can come in and they won't. This is one thing I've noticed too.
Right.
Well, one thing that happened. You come into a facility and it's not refreshing enough, or it's not clean enough.
Right.
They will turn it. They will come in and turn right back around and say, "This is not the place for us."
Right.
You don't want that to happen.
Because just think of it, people. You know, people coming out of town, people from all over, they looking at where you brought your loved one. And if it's not up to par, they going to be looking like, you know, this the best you can do?
Yeah.
You know, that's a reflection of you.
Especially when you're coming from a big town, coming to a small town, like you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
You really want to put your best foot forward when it comes to things like that.
Exactly. See, all of that matters. And that's why... you know, we have to talk about price, because all of that budget is gonna be a deciding factor on where you go.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the way, excuse me, how it is in the world. You know, some things are nicer than others, and you have the ability to choose where you want to go, where you want to spend your money. You know, so that's just how it is.
And just because it's clean and nice doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cost more. It's just that we are actually being professional and we're thinking about the families.
That's right. So, as we begin to wrap up our show for today on deciding how to pick or choose a good funeral home, there is another aspect that I want you guys to think about, and I want you to chime in with me. So, don't you think it's like really important for people to, in order for them to know, you gotta kind of pre-plan a little bit anyway. So even if you don't have like a pre-arranged, pre-funded funeral, there's another aspect of planning. Like if you know somebody has a few days to live or a month to live, you know, somebody can start calling the different funeral homes in the area. If you don't already have one that your family uses all the time, just find out if they have everything that you guys want, need, and like.
When, like I just spoke earlier today, not on the camera, of course, but weighing your options to make sure that they have what you need,
right,
and what your budget will allow.
Exactly, because if you choose a funeral home and they come and pick up your loved one, and then you change your mind,
you're gonna have to pay for that.
You definitely gonna have to pay for that, and some of those charges will be
storage.
Yeah.
Embalming.
Yeah.
Pickup.
And sometimes the arrangement.
If
you already came in and made arrangements, you could be charged with the arrangement cost or half of the arrangement. That's the Louisiana law. So know where you're going, know what you want, you guys, before you choose a funeral home. And the whole reason why I'm doing this show and then I have my guests coming on is really to enlighten you. And I want everybody to be, more prepared for something that we already know is going to come, right? So I really want to thank my very special person, Mr. Joe, for coming on the show today. It's been awesome. The conversation was good. And I wanted to know if you do have any final words, any final inspirations, anything you want to say to the people.
Well, I just want to say, if you can, be prepared. Talk to your family.
Right.
Everybody that's going to be involved in the arranging process, because it will be easier in the end when you finally come to the table to bring what you want to the table,
right,
and what you choose.
Right. That's good. Well, that's good advice. I thank you so much, and we are praying for you.
Thank you.
To have a long, fulfilling career in funeral industry.
Thank you so much.
I know it's gonna bring you some joy and all of the everything in between. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Edward J's Mortie Morty Show, where I'm your host, Treyvon Veal. Please like, subscribe, share our page, comment, give us some feedback. We want to know what topics y'all want to hear, who y'all want us to bring on, all of that. Thank you so much.
And don't forget to love on someone.
Yes. And live your life.
My name is Latanya Perosier. I am a Navy recruiter. My current position is I am the Outreach and Diversity Manager for Navy Recruiting. What that means is I travel all over the United States finding minorities to give $200,000 scholarships to. These scholarships are really important for our community, and unfortunately, a lot of times we don't know about them. These scholarships are the most amazing thing that the Navy could have ever offered. We even pay for medical school. So if you know somebody who's looking to go to college and wants to serve, we have a $200,000 scholarship for them with a stipend of $750 for their books, and they get a monthly stipend as they attend college. And we have HBCUs. We have 19 HBCUs under this program with 150 other colleges under the NROTC scholarship. If they don't have the SAT scores that we're looking for our national scholarships, we have a preparatory program. So if you have a daughter, cousin, niece, uncle, whoever that may be interested in a scholarship, please have them call us and come see us. We have so many that go unclaimed every year because our community does not know about these programs. So I hope that this information gets to you and you know somebody that's interested. If you're interested in these scholarships, you can go to netc.navy.mil. That's netc.navy.mil, and you can apply for these scholarships.